Hello, hello.
Hi.
Good end of the week for us, but probably for US people, it's still Thursday night. Happy almost weekend. Today we're going to talk about the subject of this video is should men listen to female dating coaches specifically? And you came up with this. You thought this would be an interesting topic, but a bit of backstory. We tried to film this as a video a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it
didn't go well.
Didn't go well at all.
Yeah, because we hadn't filmed videos in a while, and I just felt very awkward. Like, streams are easier because it's just chill, and videos are...
I think you felt a lot of responsibility also for this topic because you really wanted to talk about it. You did a lot of research. You watched a lot of videos, dating coaches. Like, I took a look at your notes in Notion, and you had a lot of notes. So I think you just had a lot of pressure leading the discussion, and I just turned up to the video saying, okay, yeah, let's chat about it. I kind of turned up like it was a stream.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also just because filming videos is more difficult, I feel like, than doing streams.
I think you haven't had practice in it because remember, we did a string of filming videos for weeks before we started streaming, and you were getting the hang of it. You were enjoying it.
Yeah, true.
And then I think it's just when you're not in practice with something, and that's with all aspects of our lives, where you get out of practice, you feel like a deer in headlights when you try and go back into it. So anyway, should men take advice from female dating coaches? That's the topic of today. And for anyone who's here live, if you'd like to ask a question of us and join in the conversation, add 3 smiley faces before your question, like this example, and we'll have a look on the stream and answer your question and pop it up if we can. Hi, Peg and Karu. Thanks for showing up. We've got 6 people on as well. Massive. What a crowd. All right. Initially, my reaction to this was negative.
Yeah, I think it's actually good that we postponed talking about this topic because we also had a conversation about this with some other people. And I feel like that gave me a little bit of a bigger perspective. So, yeah. So what would be your initial answer? Like, should men... Or is it ever a good idea for men to take advice from female dating coaches?
I've always been skeptical. That's my personal answer. But over the last couple of weeks, we've talked a little bit about it, gone back and forth. I've looked over notes, seen a video or 2. And objectively, I've calmed down my biases. And objectively, there's nothing wrong with seeing both sides. I look at it from the point of view of a lot of guys out there who are lonely, and they're the main people that watch dating advice. They need dating advice. They want to be in a relationship. They want a girlfriend, and those guys, and especially the guys online in the manosphere, and they're frustrated. They feel like everything's against them. They can't work out women. Women are entitled, blah, blah, blah. That the women that are proffering themselves as dating coaches, I don't like how they're always snake charming men with their looks. They're not presenting themselves as like just a normal person. They've got the low cut tops. They look like they're about to go to the Oscars. They're overly beautiful. And then they're saying effectively to these really hormonally charged guys who are desperate for women, who are both agitated and want someone. It's like these women are kind of dangling a carrot by the way they present themselves, and like, hey guys, let me tell you the tips of how you can get someone like me, loser. That's the message. I'm trying to place myself in a lot of the other guys' situations, and also me. I know I'm biased. I mistrust overly beautiful women who look like they're going to a gala ball.
Okay, a lot of things that I wanted to say. It's hard to remember everything, so I agree with some of the things that you think, but I'm also, I feel like, gonna be devil's advocate a little bit.
Don't forget, I've come around a little bit.
That's true.
That was my initial response.
Yeah. But I do think that what you said about you don't like those women because of the way they look on YouTube, and then you're kind of filling in that they're saying, "Oh, try to get a woman like me, you losers." That's you filling in.
That's a me problem, I know, but that's...
But what I was gonna say is, if you don't like the way they look and that's kind of what's putting you off, my response to that would be, how is that relevant to whether or not the quality of the dating advice is good? Right? That was my first thought. So if guys are paying attention to that, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with whether the dating advice is good.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what we should focus on more, like whether the advice is actually good.
Yeah, because that's why I said it's probably, you said it's good that we postponed it, because we had a lot of chats in between. Because when you dropped it on me, that was my immediate reaction. I'm placing my mind back to when I was dating, when I was last watching, listening, involved in these conversations, and like watching these dating coaches and rolling my eyes at them from my point of view. But then also during these last few weeks, it's like, okay, what's the alternative? Listen to these Chad dude bros giving you advice. Is that the alternative? It's like, that's even worse. And because it really depends on the person looking at the advice. And I've got no way of controlling it. Just like when I reacted to it, like my old self, I reacted like who I was, with my biases and my resistance and my inability to judge the quality of the information that the person's giving, right? It's just because, again, the woman makes herself a bit more beautiful. She could do less of that maybe if she's really concerned about providing good information. But again, it's not her fault. She's beautiful and she's providing accurate information. Now,
but I find that completely irrelevant, because that's
you're
what
a girl.
No, but that's what everyone does who is trying to sell something or has a channel. They use their looks to get like people to watch their channel, and like I feel like men sometimes do this as well. Like they make themselves more presentable, but that doesn't necessarily, like, if the advice is really good, then how is that relevant? You know?
I know, but I'm trying to place myself in the shoes of a guy who's so desperate or wants a woman, and he's got so many hormones. Women don't have that. They're not born wired to just want a woman who wants them, who's beautiful as well. It's like they're helpless against it. And I know it's not the fault of the woman. Everyone presents themselves well, but men are at a disadvantage in front of a beautiful woman, even if she does make sense and she's providing information. It's the same way where a rich billionaire dangling Ferrari keys to the average woman is telling her about, schooling her about life. He's dangling so much beautiful stuff in front of her, it's hard for her to concentrate on him with all the money and the success and, you know, all the material stuff. That's the thing I'm commenting on. They would have more success in getting through to men if they didn't ramp up their beauty to 10. And it's kind of like dangling a carrot in front of like a horny guy. So that's the only thing. I know that the information in and of itself, if it's accurate, it shouldn't matter. But for guys, we are led by beauty.
Maybe that's something I don't fully understand because I'm not a guy.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, like, what you say would make much more sense to me if your argument was women that present themselves as very beautiful on YouTube, but then the advice that they give is actually really bad. Then they're trapping men like that, and that's not good.
Yeah.
But if the woman presents herself and she just looks beautiful and she puts on makeup and stuff, and her advice is good, I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, you're correct. And again, I can't make excuses for how men are feeling or a man's inability to, you know, a woman that he finds attractive, right? His type is looking gorgeous. He's going to notice her and wants to listen to every word she says. He hangs on every word. She could be talking about cardboard boxes and grass, and he's like, oh my God, mic drop. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about grass like that before. It's because he's so enamored with her, you know? And again, it's his problem. It's a you problem. Like, you're not listening to the information. But I think I'm just kind of being a bit sympathetic to men being helplessly attractive to beautiful women.
Okay, but I don't understand at all what that's got to do with whether the advice is
Nothing.
good or not.
Nothing.
Okay, so that's just a side point.
That's something that influences men, and it's a male problem, but it's got nothing to do with what you said. Like, you're correct. It doesn't have anything to do with the accuracy of the information that the woman's giving.
Right.
But from a guy's, I know from myself and a lot of guys, there's this mistrust when a beautiful woman is trying to tell you, trying to inform you of anything. Even you notice with guys, there was an example a few years ago. A lot of guys will know this that are into the gaming world. The video game industry, they started to get this hot chick, the kind of chick that guys in their 20s would love to have as a girlfriend. She was beautiful, gorgeous, sexy. And they did ads with her as the spokesperson selling keyboards and computers. Everyone in the community hated it. They petitioned against it. It's like, we don't want that in front. You trying to sell us video games. Like, sell us video games and computer software and motherboards and keyboards and hard drives and computer equipment. Don't put that in front of us like it's very sleazy.
Yeah, okay. I do see what you mean. I do think that is kind of a side point because it doesn't have anything to do with whether the advice is good. But I do understand what you mean because I watched a bunch of different videos from different female dating coaches. And what I did notice is that the first video that I watched was a long video with a woman, and she was pretty, but she was very normal. And she kind of looked like the girl next door.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know what you mean. Like, I really enjoyed listening to her. And because she looks to me more like with women, it's all, we have the same thing. Like if a woman looks like overly beautiful, too perfect, we can't really relate to that. If a woman looks more normal, it's more relatable. So what I'm trying to say is I really enjoyed listening to this woman because she was just very normal. And I also watched videos from other dating coaches who were much more done up, like makeup, like cleavage and that kind of thing. And then I instantly noticed, and that's what you meant, I think, that like it's like less credible in a way. It's like you're trying too hard. You're trying to lure men in with your looks. And then I like that less than watching a woman who just looks more normal, because then it gives me the feeling that you are more serious about what you're doing and you actually care about giving good advice.
Yeah, you're not.
So,
if the video is about helping, like you're saying, like, I'm here to help you, I'm a dating coach, I'm here to help men, blah de blah, and you're walking around in a bikini vlogging, and it's like, we know what you're doing. Don't use the whole, hey, I'm just out enjoying myself. What are you looking at? Like, what are you looking at my low cut top for? You know what you're doing, and it's that manipulation that guys are trying to find ways to solve their problem. We don't need to be manipulated on top of our confusion.
right.
You know, that's the thing that bugs me. But again, the information in and of itself, but I would say that women who overly pull at men's hormones, they are doing themselves a disservice. Yes, men will follow you and listen to you, but they're not listening to a thing you say. You think, oh, I'm helping men. No, you're like an OnlyFans chick that says, well, I'm giving men a boyfriend experience, but you know what you're doing, the way you're presenting and how you're manipulating these guys and how you're using something that they desperately need, like something primal in them that, like, they're addicted to it, and you're pretending to give them something that's like noble. I think if you care about giving the information, tone down the cleavage and the sex appeal and the looking like you're going to a ball or something like that.
Yeah, I do understand what you mean there. I understand that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so let's focus on the actual information.
Right.
So I watched a bunch of videos from like a few different dating coaches. And I can even give the names like of the dating coaches that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Like, for instance, while you're looking for them.
I've got, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So the first one I watched was Blaine Anderson. And I think it was an interview with Chris Williamson.
Never heard of her.
I think it was with him. But anyway, but Blaine Anderson, that's that woman that I said looked very normal. Like, she's pretty, but she looks like the girl next door, and I really enjoyed listening to her. I also watched Courtney Ryan. You guys might know her. She's pretty big, I think. Sadia Khan is also a big one. And then Marnie, your personal wing girl. I don't think she's that big. He really doesn't like her.
But that's, again, me. Her accent, her high, shrill voice, she just looks like... I can picture her having arguments with her exes. She's just like yeah. But that's, again, a me problem. Like, the information she gives, when I kind of look at the information she gives, it's not that bad. It's actually, a lot of it's accurate. So, again, but your personal taste comes into it. You know, sometimes you can watch a video and they're giving you help and you just don't like the person's accent or their personality. And it's like, I can't fault the information. It's actually really good, but I can't stand looking at you.
I know what you mean. Oh, I so know what you mean. I have that with one YouTuber I used to follow for training and diet. And she made really good videos, the content and stuff, but her voice was so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it could be voice, it could be presentation, it could be your type, you know? Without, you know, certain types of people, certain ethnicities, certain, like, they can't, like, I can't stand listening to you, or you're not someone like I can keep attention on, you know?
Yeah.
So it does come into it.
So after I watched all of these videos, I can sum it up in one sentence, like the impression that I got from female dating coaches. The advice is all, in my opinion, just like very practical. It's very practical advice that you would expect. You know, like advice that could be about how to get a friend, or not just, you can apply it to more things than just relationship. It's just like, I feel like, yeah. Okay. It's more like, you know, work on your confidence. All the advice is like very practical. Wait, I wrote down a few little examples. Where is it?
Yeah, the practical stuff I have no problem with. You know, the stuff I don't like, that when I've seen them say, well, the signs, when you have to read signs, and when a woman says this and she means that I don't like. That's just a woman being a woman. But when she gives you practical stuff, I can't fault that.
I know what you mean. That's that one video of Marnie, I think. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I wrote down a few examples. Like, for example, how to approach women, how to be more confident and charismatic, how to text, how to set up your dating profile, where to meet women, how to socialize. Like, just very practical advice that I feel like you could apply to a lot more. So that was kind of my impression from the female dating coaches overall. And then I also think that women can probably give insight into some of the ways women think, or some of the things that women like, that men maybe didn't know or don't necessarily understand. Maybe like a man who has dated a lot successfully, he might understand those things more. But I feel like that could like be helpful, you know.
Yeah. Some of them, just to accept that women are a certain way and not to be completely negative. The first thing that pops into my mind is, for a while, like, I think both men and women now with the dating world, they're so kind of against each other. They come to the table defensive. And so they're even defensive against each other's nature. It's like, I can't help me as a man. I'm wired this way, right? Say a man's wired for beauty, or a man wants to take it to the bedroom quicker and much more frivolously than a woman does. A woman wants to be made to feel safe. And a lot of guys, the more we separate, we don't want to accommodate that. And they'll be like, well, guys now is like, why should I make a woman feel safe? Why doesn't she make me feel safe? And it's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it doesn't now have to be tick for tack. Like, you're not going to give anything to the other person, and you're going to be like fighting and not losing anything. So I feel like it's become that. I'm getting a little bit off topic, but a lot of this dating advice, a lot of guys now and women, they don't want to like a woman doesn't want to give a man the basics of what he'll need and then she'll have a great relationship. And similarly now, a guy doesn't want to give a woman the very basics of what she needs just to have a really good relationship. They're like, well, why should I give that? Or why should I need to accommodate a woman's nature or how she feels or how she responds? Not my problem. And it's all become very transactional. They don't care what a woman's born with and how she is and how she reacts to certain things. And the same with the woman. She's like, what? Well, that's a man's problem. Like, keep it in your pants. Or like, they don't care about each other's nature anymore.
Yeah, I almost feel like we can talk about dating advice for normal people or for like people in Western countries and stuff.
Yeah,
It's a bit different.
But anyway, I went off track a bit there. But
Yeah, but I basically think that you can take advice from both, I think.
Yep.
Because women, obviously, they are the thing you're trying to get, so it would make sense that they can give advice that could be useful. But then from men, I think that could also be very useful, because I think men's dating advice could be very useful because they might, women might not want to say everything about their personalities and the way that they think. That's a bit more malicious. And men, especially, I think that's what we see in the red pill now, and with all these men that have those channels where they really talk about the nature of women.
avoid these women.
Yeah.
This woman's bad. This woman's good. Yeah.
So I feel like that's where nowadays, because it's necessary, especially in Western countries, that's where dating advice from men could be good, because they go into that stuff, like how the nature of women can sometimes not be very nice, and then they can warn men about these things. So I do think that that's necessary as well.
Yeah. I feel the big thing missing from dating advice is how to think about situations and put them in context and be fair about, rather than, if a woman does this, run. If a man shows up like this, dump him. If you see this, leave him. It's kind of like Reddit advice. Like whatever, something that needs to be looked at or discussed, or there's a slight bump, it's kind of like leave, disengage, loser, don't waste your time. It's all black and white. The advice and the dating advice online is like that as well. It's either 3 steps to guarantee a great relationship, or the 3 signs to look out for to dump him or her. You know, it's all very a level of certainty to get a man or a woman, or level of certainty to absolutely dump them without question. You know, there's very few of them that describe dating in a conversational way, like how to think about it, how to approach it. Like if you're in this situation, like you said, understand that women are like this, and when it's this, it may not mean this, and ask her this. It's kind of like more of a conversation and keeping your eyes open and how to think about things and finding your way through like that. Whereas a lot of people now online, they're so separated, men and women, they want a checklist, like how to bake a pie, and the person doesn't matter. And it's like, that's really weird to me.
I do feel like it is very, I don't know if I should say unfair, but it is very different dating for men and for women. I think it also makes it very difficult for men because women are not as simple as men or as straightforward, you know, like, because sometimes it's like you think that you should do something, but then she'll respond in a very different way, or women will say, I like this, but then it's actually not true, or she'll kind of hint at you to do something, and you know, like, it's not as straightforward as with men. So I do think that makes it more difficult for men, probably.
Well, Karus here said something that is accurate, but I don't completely agree, where he says it's judging the artist, not the art. That was referring, I think, to me, where if the woman's beautiful, it's hard for me or other men to initially just listen to the information. But it's a little bit different. I do agree, objectively, if it's good information, it's good information. That's the problem I have with Sadia Khan. She says a lot of great stuff. I can't really fault much with her, but it's my initial impression of her looking like she's going to the Oscars. And she looks like a guy that a billionaire would be with, and she's talking to the average 18-year-old about that. That's my initial impression. But what she talks about, I can't really fault much. So again, a me problem largely. But I think it's different with judging the artist and not the art. The art, if she just did a podcast or wrote a book, but she's presenting herself, and that's why she's so popular, because of how she looks, and she knows, and she dresses like that, and she plays it up, and she knows what she's doing. And again, she's beautiful. Use what you've got. I get it. But the resistance to guys like me and other guys, or the attraction to her and her content because of how she looks, you can't ignore that. So it's a little bit different. An artist paints a picture. You don't even know the artist. You have to go searching for what the artist looks like or what he has to say or his opinion. But her presentation on videos is her selling point. She's known not because she wrote a book or she did a podcast. It's because she's in video, and then she's grown from her image. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but it's still irrelevant to whether the content is good or not. And I think that's what he's saying, is judging the artist, not the art.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the presentation, the artist is really pushing you into, like, you know how we said about you watch a video and the person's personality really deters you? Some personalities can really attract you. And so the information gets blurred by what's pulling at you, your biology.
Yeah, but that's the fault of the person that's watching. That's objectively, it's separate.
I agree. You're going to the information. I'm not disagreeing with you. The information's accurate. If the information's good, the information's good.
Right.
But if I'm providing really great dating advice, right? And I'm The Rock, and all of my dating advice videos I'm making is I'm walking down the beach with my top off, and I've got the camera down low, so I look big, and like I look huge, and it's like, hey ladies, let me tell you what men want. There's a bit of manipulation going on there. Like, you don't need to have your shirt off, showing off.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with the advice.
I know, but I already agree.
I don't get the point you're trying to make.
I'm just sympathizing with the guys that it's hard for them to get the objective information because they will agree with her talking about grass. They don't care. The information's correct. I'm already agreeing with you. But I'm saying this is the struggle some guys get. And it's not making her information inaccurate, but she's using her looks and stuff. Again, it's not wrong. I
might not understand this, babe, just because I'm not a guy. That's maybe why I'm not understanding this point.
Do you understand when there might be a really great guy who's loud, very confident, dressed expensive like an Andrew Tate, Ferraris, dangling all this stuff around girls and all these women around him, and he's a great guy, and he's like, I can't understand why women just don't see the real me. Like, all they see is my money, and they just want to take my money from me, and they don't really see. I can't get them to see the real me. All they see is my Bugattis and my money and everything, right? Can you? And I'm saying, well, it's women's problem. They need to look at his personality and not be blown away by all the stuff around him. Can you understand that? Can you understand if there's an Andrew Tate showing off all his flash, his money, his body, his lifestyle, his finances and everything, right? But his channel is all about helping women, right? Yeah. And all these women love him, right? Mm-hmm. Or actually, more accurately, he's trying to find a girl to date. His channel's all about, I'm trying to find a girl to date, right? I can't find love. And he's always showing up in Ferraris, his top off. He looks fantastic. Sorry, babe. It's like, he's like he's not a slob like me. He's like a lot of flash, right?
Yeah.
And his channel's all about, he says he wants to find a woman that sees past all of the stuff, right? Like that he's got the finances. Yet he's always showing up in a Ferrari and he's got all this window dressing around him about like looks and all of that success. And you would say to him, well, if you really want what your channel's about, tone down all the finance stuff. Stop showing off so much. That's the problem I've got with some of these beautiful, overly done, low-cut top women, you know?
I think that's a bit of a different situation because then the guy himself is looking for someone, but those YouTubers aren't looking for someone. The people that are watching are looking for someone.
Yeah, but they know what their audience wants, just like the OnlyFans people that pretend to be helping guys with their loneliness.
I think that scenario is not very relatable to me, but if I would maybe think about a female YouTuber, let's use a female YouTuber, right?
Mm.
And she makes videos about like training and diet, and she's really beautiful, and I like watching her. That works better for my brain. But if she just gives good advice, then that's fine. But let's say she doesn't give that good of advice, but I am a big fan, I like her. Then because I'm a big fan and I like her, I might not recognize that she's giving bad advice. And then I might, it might blur my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like that's maybe more of what you mean.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but so then it's when the advice is bad, then it's a bad thing. But if she's just giving practical and good advice, then I don't see a problem.
Well, and just to put it plainly, someone like Sadia Khan can give more bad advice and get away with it than someone who looks like the girl next door. Do you agree? She could get away with giving less accurate advice, bad advice, and people would still kind of follow her and listen to her and agree with her much more than a girl who was less beautiful. A girl who's less beautiful and looks like the girl next door, she has to be much more accurate with her information, and she can't make a mistake. She can't give bad advice. But Sadia Khan, do you agree she can get away with making mistakes and saying bullshit from in one video or another?
Yeah, but I agree with you when the advice is bad. Then it's not good. But if the advice is just practical and it's good advice, then I'm saying it doesn't matter what she looks like.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from also just a woman's point of view. Like, why can't guys ignore that? Like, just listen to the advice.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if the advice is just good and practical, then why does it matter if they get turned on by some beautiful woman if the advice is good anyway?
If the point is to give good advice, and that's what you're saying, I'm all here to help men, to give them good advice, why are you diluting it with showing off with your looks as well?
Yeah, I agree that I would prefer watching someone who looks more normal. I get that, but
yeah.
You
know, it's another analogy is like if a woman comes on and is like, I'm here to help guys be more faithful and stop looking at porn online, right? Mm-hmm. And she comes with a low cut top and bikini.
Yeah, that's
the kind of thing that annoys me, where they obviously overdo the looks and the low cut tops, and they give these desperate, lonely guys listen to me. I'll give you the advice of how you can get someone who looks like me.
Yeah, I just think we are maybe conflating two things.
They're separate, but they kind of marry when someone watches it. Unconsciously, a lot of these guys follow and watch everything she says because it's coming from a beautiful woman. Mm.
Yeah, but I do that too.
Yeah.
I would prefer if I'm watching diet videos or whatever, I would prefer to watch someone who's beautiful than someone who's ugly.
How many ugly diet or whatever you're into, right? Like diet videos and training videos and health videos, right? How many do you religiously follow? How many women that aren't beautiful that give really accurate advice? How many do you follow?
Who I don't find attractive?
Yeah, who are even ugly, or you don't find attractive. Like they're not even girl next door. They're below that.
I think only one who's not ugly, but who I don't find attractive. But the other ones are all like pretty attractive, yeah.
Right. So the majority of people you watch and take advice from and you continually watch are just superficially attractive, and then you listen to the information that they give you.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like
with men it's tenfold, because we want to bang every one of them that looks beautiful or pleasing.
But I feel like that also has something to do with how the more attractive you are, the more followers you get. And then the bigger the chance that I'm going to see your channel.
Sure, yeah.
That's probably also got something. Because I also watch some women that I'm not attracted to per se, or that I don't find super attractive. Yeah.
It's just the factor that plays into it. And from a
does.
guy's point of view, especially as a guy who before was like frustrated and trying to find answers, and women play these games and up means down and left means right. And when a woman says no, she means yes. But sometimes like all of that, and you're so frustrated and confused. And then you get a woman who's beautiful, like overly gorgeous with a low cut top, pretending not to be, not to, just to give you advice. It's like, again, this games you're playing.
Yeah, but I just do want to say, like, the women, the YouTubers that I follow, they are attractive in a way, but they're not like Sadia Khan level.
Sure.
Not that I personally find her attractive, but I can see how people find her attractive. But I mean, like, the people that I watch, they are kind of normal.
Yeah.
But they're like kind of attractive as well.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of. I like the Blaine Anderson. She's one of the female dating coaches I watch. I really like her. She looks like she could be a friend, you know? I like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Again, I'm biased because I'm a guy, and
No, I understand what you mean, babe, but I think that's just a natural thing. And I think that it's normal for YouTubers or anyone in business to take advantage of good looks because it just draws people in, and that's just how it is.
I've got a chip. Look, I'm honest enough to acknowledge I've got a chip on my shoulder of overly beautiful women who like dress up like on the red carpet fishing for, like, they know what they're doing. They're ramping it up into they ramp it to 10, and then they walk out and they go, oh, I didn't even know that I put all this stuff on in my makeup. Like, what? I just dress like this normally. It's like,
I told you about one time I had a guy, and he how do you say that? He set me straight. He like
oh, was this back in
he
Holland?
embarrassed me, yeah. In Holland, when I was going out, I was like 18 or 19 or whatever. And I had like done up my makeup and everything, and I was going out to a cafe. And there was this friend group that I knew. And I noticed that like people were watching me. They were looking at me, and I was like, oh, why is everyone like looking? I feel like everyone's looking at me. And this guy, he put me in my place so bad. He was like, oh, don't pretend that now you're annoyed that everyone's looking at you. Like, that's the whole reason why you put on that outfit and all that makeup and everything. He embarrassed me so hard. Yeah.
Well, that's the point. It's like, this whole pretending of, I know girls like to put on these, the makeup and do the hair and push up bras, and everyone goes, oh my God, you look gorgeous. And in their minds, like, I look naturally gorgeous, but you know it was manufactured. There was a lot of effort put into it. You didn't just brush your teeth, comb your hair and walk out and you just look basically presentable. You made yourself to look the best you can possibly look. We've already seen, like, but women like to feel like, when someone compliments me, they're just looking at me because I'm naturally beautiful. It's like,
I don't think women think that.
I think a lot of them like to think that. They're like, you look gorgeous. Oh, thank you. Even the clothes. Like, I love your jacket. Oh, thanks. And I've always felt that comment stupid. It's like, why you saying thanks? You just bought the jacket. You didn't make it. It's kind of like everything about you is, oh, thank you. I'm great. I'm beautiful.
I think that most women, if they're really honest with themselves, they know that naturally they're probably like between 4 and 6. Like, you only get to 8, 9 if you like really.
But in the West, there's a lot of women that if people tell them, not just put them in their place like you said, but just acknowledge reality, like, oh, come on, what do you expect? You're wearing a low-cut top, you expect guys not to look? And women in the West will go, oh my God, that's offensive, how dare you? I just put on something where I think I look good. I'm not fishing for, I'm not displaying sex or anything, but you are. But if you feign like, I wasn't trying, you just think I'm beautiful naturally, like.
I remember from the other stream, you were like, put the spoon down, Bob.
But you know what I mean? It's like, you love pretend, people compliment you and you have this, oh my God, like, I'm just natural. I didn't even try and I can't help being beautiful. That's the lie I don't like.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more the delusional Western women nowadays. But I obviously knew that he was right. And I was just like, yeah, okay. I just wanted him to stop talking because, like,
it's embarrassing, yeah.
People were listening. I was so embarrassed. But he was right. Yeah, so he really put me in my place.
But anyway, how do we get onto that topic? Let's look at the stream and see if there's any comments. Karu says, men can teach you how to get a woman on a mattress. Women can teach you how to keep a relationship going. Sometimes. Not. I haven't seen very many female dating coaches. I have seen a lot of older women, like married women, that talk about more traditional marriage, keeping a man, getting married, how to have a family and stuff. Those more traditional women that have relationship channels between men and women, they give more advice about keeping your man, having a lifestyle to keep each other in your life and long term. But I haven't seen very many young people, women, talk about how to keep your man, because I've always observed that women can very easily get a man, but they're terrible at keeping men. Once they get a man and they commit to them, they don't either like doing much or they don't know how to keep a relationship going.
But I also feel like this really depends on whether you're talking about, I guess, the time before feminism started and all these entitled women in the West started having all these standards, or you're talking about just like normal people.
Yeah, what is normal today? I don't know what normal is. With the internet, what's normal?
No, because I feel like, of course, it makes sense to ask women for dating advice if you want to date a woman. But I feel like the whole red pill and women in the West and all of that behavior, that's kind of influencing now how men feel about getting advice from women.
Well, sure, but it's kind of twofold. It's like men are finding it hard, and so they're trying to look for advice. If they just ignore the online dating, the online world exaggerates how bad every single woman could be. And obviously not every single woman is as bad as the worst kind of examples you see on the internet, right? But at the same time, you also go to the internet for objective good advice. So you're going to the same place to be stimulated by the worst kind of women and what to avoid and the dangerous stuff, and also going to women who look like dangerous, like, they're overly beautiful and stuff, and you can't quite trust them, but then you're trying to trust what they have to say. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where you've got problems in dating, right? And you don't trust women. Let's use me as an example from before. Like, I'm skeptical of women. I mistrust overly beautiful women. I look at how they act more than what they say.
Yeah, but I also feel like you have a brain, and you can, if you see dating advice from men or women, you can read the advice and think, yeah, that's something I could try, or you can read it and go like, that's retarded, I would never do that. Yeah,
but it depends on the observer. If you're a person that's kind of like me, slightly triggered by beautiful women, like I resist information more coming from them. And I know it's a me problem, but the more and more guys find it hard to find women, and all these games and the feminists out there and the entitled women, they're going to be more resistant. Even if it could be beneficial to them, they're more resistant to take advice from women, because women in their lives that keep pushing them back, telling them you're to blame, you're a loser, try harder, man up, blah de blah. And now I'm supposed to trust a woman. On top of that, a woman that looks like Sadia Khan, that just looks like a bear trap, that's going to get me. It's kind of like everything in me says like, yeah, go stay back, Yeah,
but that's what I mean. That's why I think this question is very different nowadays than back in the day.
Sure.
Yeah. And it depends on what kind of woman you're taking advice from as well,
Yeah, here's Karu just finally says another point. Don't forget that the dating coaches on average are single, says a lot. Yeah, like Matthew Hussey, I think in a recent video, someone asked him on a podcast, like an audience member said, like, if you know so much, why are you still single? And he said, yeah, that's a good point. He goes, I can't ignore that. Like, I've been single. So I get that maybe he's intentionally staying single because he's got a business to run. And if he all of a sudden now finds a woman, gets married and settles down, he's going to lose, again, 50% of his female audience, because in their eyes, he's gettable. He's the kind of guy that they want. He's single. They may even get him. See, that's what I mean about your emotions and your biases, why you follow and take advice from someone. If Matthew Hussey all of a sudden found someone and got married, how much people do you think, how much of his female audience would still be following him and listening to his advice?
Really, you think?
Come on.
I mean, I can get that women might want to get someone like him, but not him. That would be like watching movies and thinking you can get Brad Pitt.
You're practical, babe. And I know it's hard for you to place yourself in the eyes of other women, but most women, I don't know, you guys, and in the comments section.
Oh, he's married. Someone says Hussey's married now.
Is he? Oh, when did he get married? Maybe it's an old thing.
Ah, good for him. He seems like a really nice guy.
He was keeping that under wraps. But yeah, Where? What?
Would you take good dating diet advice? Yeah, that's the same thing. Like if a dating coach is single, that could be kind of the same thing as like a fat person giving diet advice.
Have you seen the T-shirts, the fat guy, and it says he's huge, and it says I beat anorexia?
Oh my god! No, I haven't. Oh, that's funny though.
Cynical Optimist says, here's an example. If a pick-me is giving you good advice, what's a pick-me girl again? It's kind of like a...
Like Pearl. Like she's
like,
so much on the guy's side that she's like a pick-me. Like she wants...
Right,
guys
okay, yeah, okay. If a pick-me is giving you advice and she looks modest and homely, it seems more genuine. But if there's an attractive woman that dresses immodest, it seems disingenuous. Yeah, that's what I'm sort of saying. It's kind of like, is it the car salesman that's trying to be your friend and give you advice? Or is it the normal person that's trying to give you advice? And your survival instincts, your brains are going, red flag, hang on a minute, hang on. And so you're more likely to keep them at arm's length and maybe not listen to what they're saying. Whereas if you're just attracted to them and nothing's holding you back, someone who's overly beautiful like Sadia Khan can be just talking about paint drying and you'll be going, oh my God, I've never heard anyone say it like that. Marry me. You just see it in the comment section. People don't listen to her. Everyone's like, you're amazing, you're perfect, everything you said is perfect, marry me. Where can I find a girl like you? Marry me. Yeah. And it's like, you're not listening. You are not listening. And you can say, well, it's their problem. They should be listening to the information. But it's like saying to these women that are manipulated by men who dangle Ferrari keys in front of them to come back to their place. And then you say, well, it was your fault. You should have thought about it. You shouldn't have gone back to his place, no matter how he lured you in.
I just think that everyone gets influenced by different things. And that's just, like, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
But that's a different story from, is the information actually good? And should men be taking dating advice from female coaches?
Yep.
And that's the only thing.
You know, I think a perfect analogy that would sum up my resistance.
Go for it.
Again, I acknowledge that if the information's good, it's a me problem. The information's good. There's nothing wrong with the information they're giving, right? But it's like, if you want to talk to me about how to fix a cupboard, right? And that's what your video is about. And you're talking, and your audience, are a bunch of alcoholics. And you come to the video talking about fixing a cupboard with a bottle of whiskey. And you expect them to pay full attention to you fixing the cupboard. You're being disingenuous by holding the bottle of whiskey up to people who just want information about fixing the cupboard. We're all a bunch of alcoholics when it comes to women, and women are alcohol. And if you're kind of displaying the alcohol a lot and pretending, what? I was just holding this bottle of whiskey. It's like, I didn't mean it. Like, what's your problem? Just listen to the words I say. And all you see is the whiskey.
I get it. I understand what you mean. And I agree. I'm just saying that there are two separate topics.
They are.
Yeah.
But they influence each other. Not directly, but the guy can't help, like he's not. Yeah,
but so this stream is about whether the advice is good. So that's a separate topic. The question should be like, does the way women female fucking hell.
Does the presentation affect?
Does the female presentation affect or influence?
Yeah.
how if men are able to take dating advice.
Sure.
So yeah, but
Right.
they have something to do with each other.
Yeah.
If we had been recording a video, I would have been so frustrated. But that's because it's a stream and it's just chill. So that's the difference. So
We've been
should
starting over. All right, I'll leave it. I've said my piece. But yeah, cynical optimist. He's sort of reflecting what I'm saying. Ted says, I appreciate your correspondence and your wisdom. Thanks, Ted. All right. What else?
Have you watched any, let's talk about male advice, because that's also, they can also go too far sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah, they can, in a different way. I'm skeptical of most of the popular ones. The female ones manipulate with presentation and their shtick, and the male ones as well. So I don't really, there's not many of either one that I would say, oh, they're an example of a really good one. I think they all have their shortcomings, and especially online, if you want likes, you fish for what stimulates your audience, like what you provide as the value you provide to your audience almost becomes secondary. You got to stimulate them with what your audience goes for first. So with a lot of the male dating coaches, the popular ones, a lot of them is like they try to be Chad. It's about money, six packs. Starting a business, talking overly stoic. You know, you hear them almost trying to be a radio presenter in the way, like they're trying to be a hero when they present. They're not being themselves. You could tell the way they present is like, hello, gentlemen, today we're going to blah-de-blah and start a business, and women don't want this, and anytime a woman does this, it's very like black and white and very mechanical, like you're a superhero giving a speech in a Marvel movie, and it's not real. So male dating coaches as well, for me, I've got my beef with them for a very different reason. And again, it's their presentation, how they're intentionally fishing their audience.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with presentation, but I feel like it's my responsibility how I respond to that. I feel like that's people's own responsibility. I know everything influences everything on earth.
Well, look, again, it's a difference between men and women, but also with me, I notice I fixed a lot of my relationship issues when I got over the looks thing, where it was like, I'm for lack of a better word, I'm not as attracted to overly beautiful women who, you know, put on the lipstick and the low-cut tops, like, oh, get away, I know what you're doing, right? And then when I kind of put that out of my vision, I was able to just focus on the information and focus on how I act and really come to terms with it without the beauty and the sex and all of that clouding everything. So when you get to that point, then it's easier to be responsible for what you listen to without being sort of led by the alcohol. You really get rid of the alcohol out of your life and you decide, I'm not going to drink anymore. And it becomes very easy to work your life out. But if you're always influenced by the alcohol and you're trying to get rid of alcohol, it's very hard to work out these things. It's very hard to become sober. But yeah, the dating coaches, I'm not a big fan of most of them. Some of them are good. Like I like Matthew Hussey.
But he gives advice to women. I'm more so mean men who give advice to men. But I can see both of their sides, because sometimes with some of these men, they're a bit extreme. But then on the other hand, I can understand that if that's their experience, if that has been their experience, then I understand where they're coming from. So it's a bit tricky.
I can't think of very many male dating coaches that I respect in terms of them giving advice just to men. There are guys who mentor men who give them advice, not just dating, but life advice as well, that I do respect. But the ones that just focus on dating advice, I really can't think of any that I respect.
Oh, yeah, also life.
Well, also life, there are some. There's that Frank Bruno guy. I think he's pretty good. Guys with experience that are just being themselves and they're being normal and they're offering well-rounded advice, like how to behave, not just how to get women, how to stand up for yourself, respect, honor, how to conduct your life, how to be healthy mentally, physically, just a whole well-rounded person, advice for men. There are some good ones, but just dating, the ones that focus on just dating, men giving advice to other men, most of the ones I don't respect because they look like they're giving advice to young guys who watch Marvel movies. They're just kind of going for the easy fruit, like go to the gym, start a business, be successful. It's not about thinking. It's about check all these things off and your life will be fantastic. Work towards this and it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I feel that advice makes more sense in the Western world where you have to deal with those kind of women. Then I feel like that makes more sense.
Look, this is what Peg says. She goes, I don't listen to Sadia. She looks like a snake charmer, plays on men's nature like a flute. Yeah, she may have some good points. I can't stand looking at her. She dresses like a hooker, in my opinion.
Oh, there was one video I watched of her. I haven't watched a lot of videos of her, so I can't really give a good opinion or anything. But one video I really disagreed with what she said. She was talking about like men who date very young women, like an older man who dates like an 18 or 19-year-old. And she was like really dissing him and saying like, if you're gonna date a young woman that age, then there's something wrong with you. Like there's something you need to fix. And there's like that same shaming that people always do of men. I really didn't like it because she's supposed to be
Is that biased
helping
with
men.
you, like in our situation?
No, because I feel like this is just a normal age gap. But I mean more so like
18 and the guy's 50 or 60.
Like if I had been 18, 19, right? And we would have, that's more, I think, the age gap she's talking about.
Like an extreme one?
Yeah, I just didn't like how she said, like, there's something wrong with you. Like, no, maybe it's because he doesn't want to deal with bullshit of the other women that he's been dating or
Whenever
whatever.
anyone gives definitive advice, like if it's A, then it must be B without any kind of like, I don't like that advice either, whether men or women give it, where instead of saying, well, if there's a really big age gap, there may be a problem with you and your past, or you may have an issue. But then again, if it works, it's fine. Talk about it fairly. But if you sort of know the answer, like you're arrogant and saying, well, if you're a 50-year-old guy and you go out with an 18-year-old woman, that's not real and you've got a problem and you need help.
I just thought it was so insulting. So there's something wrong with you if you want to do that. Like, and also it was weird because she's supposed to be wanting to help men and give men dating advice, and now you're dissing them or something. That's weird. Yeah, anyway, I just remembered that video that I watched.
Well, look, presentation, how someone dresses plays into your character. Like someone who's like a hyper-religious good girl who's never slept around is not going to dress like Sadia Khan.
You know what I also think? If you're going to be a woman and you're going to give men advice on anything, especially dating advice, one thing that you should be is humble. Because, you know...
And that's also part of your dress as well.
Yeah.
Your presentation should be humble. And this is the instinct that someone who listens to their instinct is going, my alarm bells are ringing. I don't like this person. Look at how they're dressing. It's miscommunicating. You're trying to be genuine, but there's something about you that's not genuine. You know, it's like the car salesman that comes up to you is like, how are you, friend? Like, what's your name? And like, I like your jacket. And it's like, you're a manipulator. Like, it's friendly, but I can hear the warning bells going off. And I think it's the same thing when someone like Sadia Khan, and Peg also agrees with me. You were the only one that's... I'm joking.
What?
No, Peg also agrees with me here. She can't stand Sadia Khan. She goes, she dresses like a hooker, in my opinion. I'm
the only one what?
No. Everyone seems to be agreeing with me a little bit, except Karu. I think Karu is kind of on your side on this. I think it's valid on each. I think there's valid points on each side. But I think that the way Sadia, she overdoes fishing by looks a bit too much.
But I'm sorry, I may have missed it. I'm the only one that what?
No, like here, like Peg is agreeing with me. She doesn't like Sadia, and you're sort of saying it doesn't matter how someone looks, it's just the information. Like these people as well, like they share my resistance to the way Sadia overly beautifies herself while she's trying to help men. And like Peg's saying she looks like a snake charmer, plays on men's nature like a flute. She may have some good points, but I can't stand looking at her. Yeah,
no, but I agree with that. I'm just saying that it's separate.
Yeah, it is.
It's not. It doesn't say anything about whether the information is good.
Yeah.
I'm more objective in that way, maybe.
Yeah. Look, things can be separate, but they can relate to each other very closely. Like if someone cheats on their partner, it might have to do with the person just being, just having a high libido, and there was a moment and he had a moment of weakness or whatever, and then the woman's crying and feels devastated, his wife, and the relationship's over. And he's trying to say, well, I just felt like sleeping with her and I made a mistake, and she's like all crying. And he's saying, well, I don't know why you're crying. These two things are separate. Why I wanted to sleep with this woman is separate to how you're now crying and feeling about our relationship. They're related. They're separate, but they're related,
I think I'm just being very literal.
Yeah, they are separate, but you're being very literal. You're being very Dutch.
Yeah, because I'm focusing on the question of this stream.
Well, the question is, should men listen to dating advice from women?
Yeah, like is the dating advice good advice?
Yeah,
that's what I'm focusing on more.
But don't forget, it's also the person that's listening to the advice and the person wanting help, what kind of person they are and what they need. It's like, what medicine do I need? So if I'm ill, I'll take a certain type of medicine. Sadia's medicine has a lot of side effects. It might help me, but it comes with a lot of side effects, and I'd rather not have it. I'd rather take something else without all the...
I think this is because I'm a woman, and I don't have that crazy obsession towards women that men have. And that's why, like, that argument is almost like a female kind of argument to me.
How I feel, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it's your responsibility. Like, here's the information.
Yeah.
Use it if you think it's good. Don't use it if you don't think it's good. If you get influenced by the way they look, that's kind of your problem.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility. Like, I'm looking at it more like that, I feel like.
Yeah, like it's when guys try and explain something to a woman about like something very scientific and objective, and she's saying, I know, but this is how I feel about it.
Right.
And the guy's going like, yeah, I don't care how you feel, but can you acknowledge that it's just this? And I think that's what you're doing as well. So when it comes to our hormones and how we feel about women, that's where our feelings come in. And women are just like, why can't you just be practical and objective about what it is? And guys are heavily influenced by their emotions and their feelings related to it as well.
Yeah.
But when it's got to do with other stuff aside from women and the bedroom, it's like we can be very objective about the world.
Yeah.
Whereas then women, they get emotional, and they get emotional about a whole bunch of stuff. But when it comes to women and sleeping with them, that's where men are very emotionally influenced. Yeah, I didn't know Hussey was married now. I learned something every day. She's been on his program, actually.
What, Sadia on?
No. Matthew Hussey's wife has been on his program.
Ah, that's how he met her.
No. Apparently on an interview, so maybe we should look it up. That'd be interesting to see him and his wife talking. Like, I find that interesting, watching them, the dynamic and what they'd be like together. Anyway.
You know what I find weird, though? And I don't know. On the one hand, I find it a little bit weird that so many women are that attracted to him. Because, well, on the one hand, I can understand it because he's very, like, he really caters to females, it feels like, so I get that side of it. But on the other hand, he comes across like a nice guy, maybe even too nice. And like I also know that women don't like that. And I feel like if a woman would get him, a fan, she would feel good about getting him, but then she would maybe get bored because he's very nice or something.
Yeah, he's a very nice, agreeable. Well, not always. He's got his boundaries because I think a woman who follows him, I've seen some clips where he's not a pushover. When women challenge him, he really stands up for himself. He doesn't just submit to women. So he's okay in my books. I like him.
I like him too. It's just that's always the impression that I get of him.
Yeah,
but
sure.
that's probably because his audience is very female, so that's why he adjusts how he talks, maybe.
Yeah, but like for me, like for instance, that Marnie, the wing girl, she just looks like a car salesman to me. Again, this is me. I don't like her.
Yeah, but see what's interesting.
I like Sadia more than Marnie, if I had to pick.
Oh, I would pick neither. I would pick Blaine. That normal girl.
She's okay, but she looks like the girl that no one dated in high school, and now she's put on makeup and she's got attention on YouTube, and she's a girl next door. Like, good for her.
Who?
What's her name? What's that girl next door that you said?
Blaine.
Yeah, Blaine. She's kind of got brunette hair. She just looks like her.
Yeah, I like her.
Oh, sorry, Courtney Ryan. Courtney Ryan to me looks like a girl in high school that didn't get many dates, and now on YouTube she's found an audience and she's got a lot of attention, and now she's an expert on dating.
Why would you think she didn't get many dates in high school?
She just looks, when you look past, she kind of does a bit of what Sadia Khan does, like a lot of makeup, a lot of going out to the gala presentation in the way she presents in videos. She's not just looking normal. Like, she's not just looking, a bit of makeup, t-shirt or whatever jacket. She looks like she's going out to a ball. She's really dressed up every time. And past the makeup, if you strip the makeup off, if you've got a bit of imagination, she just looks like a very, very plain girl, more of a shy girl, that now she's found some confidence on her YouTube channel. And she's, someone who's like a 4 or a 5, and the way she presents and her persona, she's made herself into like a 7.5 or something on YouTube.
I don't mind it with Courtney Ryan though.
I don't mind
because
her.
It also has a lot to do with your personality and your attitude. And with Courtney, like even though she dresses up a bit, her videos I find like very professional, and she just talks normally. But with Sadia, I feel like a lot of confidence and like what's the word?
Ego.
Yeah, like a lot of ego. And so that kind of turns me off. So it also depends on how they present themselves, I guess.
All right. Anything else? Like, how long have we been going now? Let's, just over an hour. Let's maybe, do you have any more to add? Like, is there any more? Or we can go through some of the comments.
Yeah, sure. Comments are fine. Yeah.
Let's have a look here. Ask the question. Guys, would you ever take dating advice from a female dating coach? Now, YNT Fitness, his response. I think you liked his response, didn't you? You can read this.
Yeah, I thought it was very, like just normal.
Okay, you want to read it?
Of course, I would take dating advice from a female dating coach on board. The nonsense of getting advice or asking a fisherman how to fish, not the fish, makes sense on the surface level, but if I'm looking to date, court, attract a woman, and keep that relationship alive long term, then it's important to listen to what the other side of that relationship is equally looking for and needs. It's a symbiotic partnership that one side alone doesn't have the answers to. I do believe both men and women have different approaches, and we even opposing dating strategies, but if we are looking for more than just sex, then we need to be open to listening to not just men who tell you how to get the girl, but women who can have meaningful insight on how to maintain the relationship and keep the girl. Unless you think a woman's perspective is meaningless, listening to a female's viewpoint for a man can bring new insight on how to better themselves.
I think if you make sure you're really focusing on the information, and which you can't hell, everyone's got their own internal dialogue happening and what they're absorbing, if they're listening or not. If you can really look at the information for what it is and not be distracted by beauty and whatever, then if the information's accurate, he's right that looking at all angles from the advice of everyone who's got useful information about that thing is going to just help you in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically been my point all along. It's just like whenever you're looking to do something, you look up information and then you kind of see, okay, what do I think is good and what do I want to try out? Yeah.
Prince Revolver says, dating coaches, no. You're better off figuring things out through trial and error than to take dating advice from a coach. That being said, I do think healthy advice from women can be applied to your life if it's reasonable. Yeah. I've always felt that with dating coaches, when they give you these 1, 2, 3 step bits of advice of how to get a woman or how to get a man, I think the person that would follow step 1 to 5 to get a woman or get a date, you probably need to be more confident in just being yourself and relaxed. You know? The advice of like do A, B, C, D, E, and then you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend, I think that's really dangerous because then what do you do with them? How do you stay a boyfriend and a girlfriend? Like if you only know how to synthetically get a partner by steps, you probably need to take a step back and be more comfortable going out, socializing, talking, showing and telling the person who you are than a 1, 2, 3 step program. Do you know what I mean? So I think it very highly depends on where you are as a person and the advice you give. And that's why someone who's dangerous and beautiful, like giving you these like when a man does this, it means this and dump him, or like if a man's older and the woman's younger, there's something wrong with you. If you're someone who has a lot to learn and you're not very confident and you can't speak up for yourself, if you take the advice from these people as like the rules, then you could really screw your love life up. They can make it worse for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can't relate to this whole topic. Like I can relate to this comment the most, I feel like. Like you're better off just figuring things out. And I think that's probably because I've never needed dating advice, but that's also because I'm a woman dating men. I would never even think to ask someone for dating advice, so I can't relate at all to men wanting to get dating advice on how to date women. So, yeah.
I actually think like dating advice in and of itself is kind of a bit lazy. I've never wanted dating coaches. I've always liked talking to other men or even women, like just everyone in my life and even online, to have a conversation for me to think about things and then come up with my own, like, oh, that's interesting. You know what? I can relate to that. This is what I've never thought about it from that point of view. But actually being given dating advice like a recipe, I've never understood people who approach dating advice like a recipe. I think it's much more useful to learn how to think, know who you are, trial and error, like this guy said.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want to trial and error. They don't want to make mistakes because the guys think if I trial and error, I could find myself with a baby or she can take my house.
Yeah, but I also feel like I wouldn't keep trying. But again, I'm a woman, so it's different. But if I would be trying something out and it's just not working, I would just stop trying. But that's just me, I guess.
Yeah, there's different challenges for a woman. David P. says, if the advice is from a dating coach, I have no problem listening because I might learn something. If it's from a female friend or acquaintance, no, I wouldn't, especially if she's the type to tear down the person she's dating. Yeah, see, this is the thing. The person getting the advice needs to also be aware enough of the person talking to him,
I find this kind of weird, though. I would think it would be the other way around. Because if you have a female friend that would give you bad dating advice, then how good of a friend is she in the first place?
You're being literal here again, but I know what he's saying. Like, if it's an actual friend, like you consider them a friend, you wouldn't have a friend who just disparages everybody because they probably disparage you as well. But what I'm saying, I recognize it like with people in my personal life, family and friends, is that there's some people that are just bitter and negative, And if they're the ones that are giving you dating advice or telling you what the solutions are, it's good to be aware that this person's a negative or bitter person, or they're a bit of a backstabber. So how much are they really looking out for my best interest by giving me advice?
And so then why are they your friends?
Sometimes it's family, or, you don't know. Again, yeah, you're right. You're being very literal. You're kind of very black and white and strong-minded, which I respect that about you. A lot of people who need advice, who take dating coach advice, who follow these things because they desperately want to figure out their dating world. And it's the big problem in their life. If they weren't alone, so much of their life would be fixed. And these people are desperate. They don't have good friends. They might have family and friends who are bitchy and backstabby and give them manipulating advice. Look at the girls. Girls who pretend to be friends at school. I love your hair. And then when she walks away, the girls go, oh, what a bitch. Sometimes you don't know if your friends are really your friends. You can be more astute like you and kind of go, yeah, I don't care. I can judge it accurately. But most people, friends and whatever, they're not good judges of friends and girlfriends and boyfriends. And they're looking for advice to make it, to help them make better decisions in that way.
I feel like I can relate to a lot of this in a way.
You researched a lot of it, but
yeah, I researched a lot, but I feel like your
my perspective.
Yeah, like you're bringing in a lot of points where I keep going back to it's your responsibility.
Well, yeah, it is, and that's not inaccurate. That's true. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility not to be so heavily influenced or led along. Like, is to stay focused on the information that's actually accurate, to be sober and,
Yeah.
You want to read the next one?
Which one? There's no problem with listening. Just remember you won't get the time back. As for taking their advice, if they don't have multiple happy couples to present as evidence that they know what they are talking about, I'd probably say no. Yeah, I would agree with that.
This is one thing I've talked about with some friends online, is that there is objective good dating advice, but then sometimes a person that pretends to be an expert on it, their life is always a train wreck. They're picking the opposite of the advice they keep telling you. Like, if they can't take their own advice, if their life looks like a mess, again, like you said, if someone's really obese and they're giving you health advice, even if the advice is accurate, sometimes you have to look at where the advice is coming from. So someone like morbidly obese giving you accurate dating advice, health advice, it might be accurate, but part of you is like, yeah, I can't separate you from the advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But the advice, like, you should be able to technically, if a fat person gives you great health advice, technically you should be able to be smart enough to say, well, look, it's 100% accurate. Like,
a lot of it just sounds like a cop-out to me for some reason. I'm just like, you have your feelings and stuff, fine, but like, this is just objective information, take it or leave it. That's kind of, I don't know why I have this harsh stance on it.
Because you're accurate. You're accurate
Okay.
with that. Like, it's not that you're wrong, babe. You're accurate. But like, that's why I'm kind of probably pulling at your feelings as well, because, like, again, if someone who is like a really fat, huge, like a Nikocado avocado, is like giving you serious weight loss advice, would you be able to easily go, oh, yeah, I love him, he gives great advice?
That depends on whether he gives me good advice or not.
But say he does, he's got a channel, you just know him from like giving really good, he gives really good, that's all he talks about, right? I doubt he'd have a big channel, right? But he's huge, he's fat, and he's giving you accurate health advice.
Look, the first time I see him, I would probably be like, but if like somehow I get through one video and the advice is really good, then I would keep listening probably. It depends on the advice.
It's the getting through the initial barrier of what your impulses go, well, I'm not going to listen to this fat fuck.
Yeah, but it also depends on the topic. Like if it's a topic I'm very interested in and I'm like, oh, he's very big. Let me just see what he has to say about this topic. And then if it's really good, then it doesn't bother me that much. If
Yeah,
it's
but
big.
if it's about weight loss, like if he's obese or unattractive and he's talking about fixing a car or whatever, it's not as big of a resistance. But if his channel is about how to stay in shape and the title is like weight loss is stop making excuses for being overweight, like weight loss, like he's just very hard and black and white, like this is how you lose weight, this is how you're healthy. But he literally looks like he doesn't take his own advice.
Well, I would think that if he would make a channel like that, then he would also be kind of self-deprecating. He's like, yeah, I know I'm big, but
No, but say he's not. He's like being serious. Like, yeah, there's no excuse. If you're fat, you're a loser. Like you.
It would be very strange, but it still depends on the information.
Yeah. Anyway.
If he gives a really good tip and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool, let me try it out, and it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's up to the person looking to be objective, and it's your responsibility not to be led. Accidentally Hero says it's not wise to take dating advice from modern women in general, let alone a certain sphere of modern men. Women hate each other and will have neg wars to diminish each other's self-esteem. Yeah, that's true. They'll give each other bad advice so they can feel like they have leverage over each other. So dating advice from a woman is truly never for mutual benefit or having one's best interests at heart. I'd much rather take advice from a happily married wife and husband before a dating coach. Side note, secular society doesn't understand that dating is not what they've been conditioned to believe it to be. The popular belief is, or at least was, is that dating prepared people for marriage. It doesn't. It prepares people to have an alternative to marriage, which is why dating is dead. Yeah, but you can't. There's something about in you that doesn't buy. Even if someone's giving accurate information, there's something about you that doesn't buy it 100%. Even if someone's saying something accurate, you're like, yeah, I believe them 90% or something. Not like I take Pearl as an example. When she says something accurate, you do, but the way she presents diminishes sometimes what she's saying. And it's in the same way, like someone who's overly beautiful, like Sadia Khan, she diminishes her message by the way she presents. That's just my general feeling of it. Yeah. But what he said about I'd much take dating advice from a happily married wife and husband before a dating coach.
Yeah.
You see a couple that's, even if they're not married, say you and I have been together for like decades and we're happily married and, you could see that we have a good relationship. You buy that more 100% than someone who's single and thinks like they know the answers, but they still keep being frustrated by women or men and they're dating continually and they can never get it right. It's like, well, you're presenting yourself like you know it all and you can't even get it right and you're frustrated and you're making videos about it. There's a little bit of a like, well, it's accurate, the information, it's accurate, but
yeah, I feel like that stuff bothers me less than but that's because I'm very practical, I think. Like I really focus mostly on the information. I might be influenced a little bit by looks or whatever or circumstances, but the main thing is the information.
You want to read Melanico's?
Interesting. You need to distinguish between emotional marketing and agnostic advice. If the dating advice is coming from a skewed perspective, female Western culture not likely to be honest, or I take the advice with a pinch of salt. You would be surprised many are divorced or single. If you are a relationship expert, how can you be single then?
Yeah, it depends if you're coming across as a dating coach is saying I'm a relationship expert. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But if you've got a channel that's talking about, like, I've never called myself a relationship advisor, coach, expert or anything. I've in the past always tried to work out relationships and my own questions and things, but I've never been a dating coach. But if you say you're a dating coach, that's suggesting you have the answers, you know everything, you're an expert in this field, or you're a professional in some way in this field.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you are, then why are you still single? But then again, you could have a lot of information in a field and just decide that you'd rather be single. You don't want to be in a couple. You know?
Yeah.
One thing doesn't suggest that you should be in a relationship. Like, for instance, you're a teacher and you don't like kids.
Yeah, that's a good point. You want to put the screen back?
You want to see your face.
No, I just always think I hate it when people have like the big screen on whenever I watch YouTube videos, and I always find it annoying. So I'm just thinking that maybe they don't want to look at a white screen.
Yeah, also, have a look at our latest videos we did. Last week's stream. Did we do a stream last week?
No, I was sick.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't do last week.
I had the flu last week, so that's why we didn't do a stream.
Yeah, we had a kind of fun one where we responded to Reddit posts. And,
yeah, that was fun.
Look, we don't take Reddit seriously, but it was kind of like a lighthearted thing. And even the funny stuff, you can talk about how ridiculous they are by talking about what the right thing should be. So that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Any last questions? Do you have anything else to say? I think we've talked around this subject.
I feel like I wanted to say something else, but I kind of forgot.
You think about it, babe, and I'll have a look. Karu says, it's a lot easier to follow the 1 to 5 steps. If you get rejected, the person gets turned down, not you. You can keep hiding your real self. What does that mean? If you get rejected, the persona gets turned... Ah, yeah. Sometimes these guys, like especially male dating coaches, they make you into like a cartoon character of a dating guy, like a high-value man. So the male dating coach is like how to become a high-value man, right? And then you make yourself into a high-value persona. It's not really you. It's like the guy in the suit, the guy in the car, the guy with money, the guy who's jacked. And so when that cartoon character of you gets rejected, it doesn't really hurt you because that's not really you. You know, it's like the cartoon character, the macho man of you got rejected. Big deal. Go to the next girl, go to the next girl. And then when you get a girl, the problem is now you've got to drop the high-value mask. You can't just be the guy sitting on the couch.
I just feel like if that's how you go through life, then that's on you. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but some of these guys, that's what they do. They have no clue. They haven't been in relationships. Women are telling them they're useless. They need to try harder. They have no idea. And the only person telling them, here's a way to get a girl, is the dating coaches that are saying to be a high-value man. Or Sadia Khan telling guys how to be a high-value man. They're not telling you how to be the best version of you. They're telling you how to be a high-value man that any woman would want to be with.
I just think maybe they need to just work on their confidence.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem is you need to be finding a way through that includes yourself. You need to be asking yourself questions. What are your fears? Why can't you speak? Why can't you, there's problems beforehand.
Yeah, because I don't know, I find that so weird, like the concept of dating advice. Like, we're all humans. It's normal to date and to be together and stuff. I just feel like that should be something more natural. And if you really have no idea and you feel awkward around women, I feel like you should probably be working on your confidence and on yourself than to go ask for dating advice or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be like more of a natural thing.
Yeah, because if you just follow the 1 to 5 steps of dating advice, you might nervously go through those steps and fake your way through it. But say you get a woman, then you're really nervous. You don't know what to do next. You're just going to look for other steps and other ways to be a boyfriend rather than just be yourself and be confident that I was just me and she wants to be with me and I don't have to figure anything out. I have to just continue being me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, yeah. I feel like, but maybe that's again because I'm a woman and it's easier for me. But I'm just me And then if you want to be with me, okay, great.
But you're a realist and you're very practical. You don't play the games. You're not into the whole romantic bullshit and everything. So that's why it's so easy with you, and you're an exception. And that's why with me it was very easy with you. There was no games. There was no left means right, up means down. When you give me this sign, it means this. Like I never had to worry about any of it. I just showed up with you and we started talking, and you were very literal. And you're very direct, and there's nothing like, and I think that's why you take everything so literally. Like, if the information is accurate in your eyes, it's accurate. I don't get all this other related stuff. Like, the information in and of itself is accurate. Yeah. And with you as well, you like me. Like, what does it matter what people think and whatever? Like, I like you because I can talk to you because of blah, blah, blah. That's all it is. There's no connected things that mean this and analogies and this means that. Like, you're very simple that way.
Yeah, and I also think that probably the reason why I've had a little bit of trouble understanding your perspective here and there throughout the stream is also because I really can't relate to having to ask for dating advice. And also because dating for men is completely different from dating as a woman. So it's like two different worlds. So I feel like that's also probably why I can't really relate to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dating in the West, the analogy that's probably generally the most accurate is women are taught and they go to dates like they're a celebrity, and the guys go to dates like they're a fan of theirs. You know, there's a very different way both of them approach dating. Women might have their insecurities hidden, but generally that's how dating looks.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you guys think about female dating coaches, them giving advice to men? And on the surface, I think it's good to get information from both sides. Again, the analogy, if you want to learn to fish, you don't just get advice from an experienced fisherman. You also get a lot advice from the fish as well. But you have to balance them and look at it from all angles to see what's practical and what works, and then try every angle out.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking now? You know how I said I think men should probably just work on their confidence if they don't really know how to date. That's why I think
how does a man work on his confidence? I know, but how do you think a man should work on his confidence?
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that some of these life coaches, you know, like they're kind of in the red pill as well, but they're telling men to become successful, to become more confident, to make money. Even though that gets like a bad rap sometimes, I do feel like advice like that could be used in a good way to gain more confidence in a way. You know, as long as you don't create like this fake persona. But
yeah, but people are attracted to bright, flashy things, babe. It's hard. But again, it's up to you if you're attracted to those things. But I agree with you that I respect, even though the name is cringy, life coaches. You probably get more value from life coaches in general, just like learning how to be a better person yourself, to be less scared, to be more confident, to get your life in order, to feel more stable.
Yeah, you know what I think is good dating advice? I can't remember who said it, but someone said, like, just talk to women more normally. Talk to friends, talk to older women, and just make that more of a habit so that you don't feel like it's a celebrity, but you just feel like you can just be yourself. Yep. And then work on your own confidence as well, you know, and then just see if you meet someone. Like, I think that's kind of better than just following this dating advice, but you're not actually working on yourself. Like, yeah. I think working on yourself is probably a very big part in this.
Yeah. I think that advice is better across the board, because anything you practice, you become better at. So wherever you're lacking, just practice that and you will be better at it. Rather than, it's kind of like if you want to be a better singer, right? You practice singing and you practice more and more as you get better, but you don't learn, sing these 3 words perfectly over and over. That's like the steps of dating coaches. Like, do these 3 steps. No, you got to learn to sing. Don't just learn how to sing 5 words perfectly. Learn how to sing. Learn to play an instrument well. Don't just learn these 3 chords really well and you're an expert at playing those 3 chords really well. That's what I don't like about dating advice. So I think the more life coach, general getting better. And I heard this from, because I follow a couple of people who are vocal coaches who present, like I'm interested in presenting better and speaking better on microphone and on streams. And one of them, one time he sort of said, do you know how I got confident? He goes, I practiced being confident. He goes, I talked more. I kept practicing being more confident. And he says, it might sound arrogant or I can't do it. He says, but anything you practice, you get better at. And he showed videos of himself years ago, and he had a terrible voice, a bad accent, and now he sounds like he could be presenting previews to Hollywood movies. He's got such a really beautiful voice. And he said, this is all practice. You want to get better at anything, practice whatever you're not good at. And it's as basic. And I agree with you, like basic human being advice about where you're not good, start with that, and then you'll find other stuff easier. So if you can speak better, right? So you don't have a good voice, you mumble, you can't get your thoughts together. There's no point jumping that 10 steps ahead and trying to approach a beautiful woman that you find attractive. You're going to screw it up. Address the deficiencies that you have that you really want to address. So speaking better and talking better and standing up straight or losing whatever it might be. Fix the basics, and then when you try and do what the dating coaches say, you're going to have much easier time at doing it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good one. Silver.
Which one?
People say down. Second one. People say confidence is key, but confidence without competence creates an empty suit. Yeah, but I think that if you work on your confidence, then you are automatically also practicing. And that's how you gain competence. Because in order for you to grow your confidence, you do that by practicing. And as you're practicing, you're increasing your competence.
Yeah.
So I feel like that happens simultaneously.
Yeah. I agree with it, but I describe it in a different way. I say you gain confidence by practicing, and then you gain self-esteem because it's like, yeah, I did it yesterday and the day before. Like, I have evidence for my confidence.
Yeah.
You don't just kind of talk to yourself in the mirror. It's like, I'm confident, that doesn't work. You need to go out there and talk and practice that thing. If you can't speak, you say hello to more people. You make a decision to talk more, to practice the thing that you're not doing. And then the evidence of like, I'm doing this all the time. It's getting easier. This is easy now. I talk to people. I say hello. I'm polite. And so you've got the actual real life evidence that gives you confidence.
Yeah.
But faking confidence, that's the thing that you can't really do. You can't lie to yourself. So you have to practice. You have to do it. And then you've got the evidence of doing it that actually gives you real confidence. Like, no, I'm not faking this. This is real. I talk to people more and more. I do podcasts more and more. I do streams more and more, rather. And so I know the way I present is better. I speak better because I'm practicing it more, you know? And that's the confidence you get because of the evidence behind you.
If there was a female dating coach that you trusted and you knew that you were going to get like an honest answer, do you have like a question you would like to know? From
them? Like if I was like back dating again, I think it would come off the back of an assertion she made or a point of view that she had on dating that I would either find curious or maybe accurate, or I wanted to find out more. So it would depend on, because for me, questions that I would really want to ask someone is a question that's related to something I want to know.
No, but I mean more so like you get one wish or one question and it gets answered
by someone you
honestly,
know is going to give you,
by a good female dating coach, and you know that the answer is going to be very honest and accurate. What would be a question that you would want to ask a female dating coach?
If it was one question, it would be, I would first talk to her for like an hour so she gets to know me by talking to me, and then at the end of that I would say, where can I improve? Because I might have a delusion of what question I want answered, but if it's one question to ask this person that would give me something very helpful, I would talk to her for an hour, and we can have an open conversation, and she can observe as an expert where my faults might be. And then at the end of it, it's like I would say, okay, tell me where my biggest improvement lies in dating. Like, you've talked to me, you've asked me these questions about my dating life and everything. That's my question. Where can I improve? Because I could delude myself. I could sort of say, why do women lie? Why do women always leave me, even if I give them everything they need? It's so vague. She needs to know the context of me to give me an accurate answer. So I would say, like a psychiatrist, sit with me for a while, really professionally, like, listen to me and who I am, and then give me the best advice.
Let me ask it in a different way. You can ask the same dating coach a question, and on behalf of men.
Okay.
Okay? So it's not just about you. You want insight into women, and she's going to give you like a good, honest answer. What would be a question you would want to ask?
Give me one tip of how men who really love women can lower that, like to stop being manipulated by their desires. Give me, because no amount, if a guy always has that at the front, his desire, attracted, like horniness and all of that stuff, there's no point giving him practical advice if the representative at the front of it is always, I want you, love me. How does he lower that? How can he become more objective? How can he lower his desire for women to date more clearly? What's a bit of advice? What's a bit of clarity that you can give him to see women in a certain way, to lower that, like to get that out of the way? Because that's kind of sabotaging men.
I do feel like that would probably be a question better aimed at a man.
Oh, you mean advice from a man?
Yeah, because that's not really a question that gives you insight into women. That's how you guys can handle yourselves better. That might be better to ask a man.
Yeah, but maybe a woman who's being honest with me. We're talking about this mythical dating coach who would be objectively honest and care about maybe she could give insight from a woman, like, when women do this, just realize this. And that kind of like, oh, okay, that lowers my attraction or something. I don't know. But I really can't,
See, here we go again. I'm taking this very literally. I'm thinking more like men physically. How can they lower their libido, basically? I was thinking, when you asked that, I was thinking meditation, stoicism. I was thinking that kind of thing. So we have very different responses.
Yeah, if a woman says that, that's like male advice, and it would appear condescending coming from
but that's why I said that would be better to ask a man, because I was thinking you were thinking more like the physical. How can I lower my libido and not... That's how I took that question.
Yeah, I'm trying to place myself. It's very difficult. Like, I wouldn't really take dating advice from a female dating coach. It's a hard thing for me to ask. So I'm trying to place myself in the shoes of a guy who would really value a female dating coach's opinion and asking her a question. I guess a basic one, like what's one attractive thing for a woman? But then I already know the answer. It's like dress well, like clean yourself up basically, and be some sort of financial security. Like, you just have a job, like just make yourself just at base level secure, and like have some sort of job or income, be stable, have something to say, like just the basics. I already know the answers. Anything above that is just, I'm trying to place myself, like, I don't know what another man would ask.
Have you ever in your life thought about going to a female dating coach? Or a male dating coach?
No. I've wanted to have conversations with people and have honest conversations about this, but not even therapy. People, like, they need to go to a therapist, they've got to work. I've always found that I should be able to work my own problems out, much like you've never needed advice. where if I'm open and honest and I really don't avoid the obvious, how can anyone else, if I can't face it, how can someone else drag me out of my problems? But that's just me and you. So it's hard for me. I'm trying to be sympathetic and put myself in the shoes of guys who really need a therapist or really need a coach. They just don't know how to get rid of the problems they have.
I wonder what the ratio is of dating coaches for men versus for women. There probably aren't many for women. Dating
coaches?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Like, we don't need dating coaches.
Yeah, I think it's only the woman that's very dysfunctional. She's getting older, and her friends and family and everyone's telling her she's got a temper or she really should go to a therapist because you're really extreme.
Yeah, but then it's more about psychologically you need therapy.
Yeah,
it's not that because we know how to get men.
Yeah,
men are simple, so it's like for us it's not a problem.
Yeah, I don't think women really have a high dating coach.
No.
Industry. I think men have a high dating coach industry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at the movies. What do women want? It's like men are trying to figure out what women want. There's no movies what do men want. Like,
I think there actually is one. They made like a second movie.
Yeah, but just as a shtick, not because it was really a necessity. It's like, oh, let's make an opposite. Ooh, aren't we clever? We're creative.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're done.
So final answer, your final answer is no. You would not take advice from a female dating coach.
No, but if I came across one that gave good objective advice, it would be refreshing. But while I was dating and frustrated and trying to find answers, out of the tier of people, they would be like close to the bottom because I want to figure out my own problems. And if women already are indirect, they don't say what they want. They're their own worst enemies. They backstab each other. Like, I can't objectively trust a woman that I don't know on face value giving me dating advice. A man, I can trust a bit more if I look at his life, how he speaks, how he presents himself. Like, I can trust him more because if he's giving good advice. But with a woman, it's like, I'd rather take advice from a man.
I feel like it would actually be kind of difficult to be a female dating coach giving men advice if you're actually gonna be really authentic and honest
and not sexy.
No, I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about the things you would talk about with men and the advice that you would give. Like, if you were actually honest, right, then you would also have to talk about the bad side of women. And so, because women are very complicated, right? So if you want to actually give good advice and be honest, you would have to get into the mud as well. You would have to talk about everything.
Yes and no. For me, I got clearer about dating where I didn't care about the multitudes of different women and what all women want. You get to the heart of what you want and what's compatible with you, and then only focusing on what those kind of women are like.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, if you're a female dating coach and a man comes to you and he's like,
I need help.
I'm dating this girl and she keeps doing this thing. I'm not sure what it means. Then maybe a dating coach, a normal one, would just like not really talk about what it actually means, but like an honest one would say, if she's doing this, it actually means this, and it's not a nice thing. You know, like she's actually kind of telling the secrets of how the female brain works. And like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure, but I think the first, like any coach you go to, like if you're in a relationship and you're going to a therapist or your friend or a dating coach and saying, my partner's doing this, what does it mean? The first answer I was thinking like, well, have you asked them? Do you talk? Have you asked them why they're doing?
Yeah, sure, but what happens if you ask those kind of women?
Again, like what you said before, well, why are you going out with this kind of woman? It's your responsibility.
Yeah, I know, but the guy may not know that. So maybe he thinks he's dating a nice girl, and she does this thing.
Oh, he's confused.
Yeah, and he doesn't know what it means, and he thinks maybe he's making a mistake. And then I'm gonna tell him, no, that actually means this. It's not a nice thing. This is what she's actually doing. You know, but maybe I wonder if female dating coaches actually want to get into the malicious side of women and how they can think and why they do certain things. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if I were a female, if I was a dating coach giving men advice, then I would be very honest, and I could never do it because I'm not social and I don't care and whatever. But like if I was, I would share everything that I knew about how women's brains worked and what they wanted, but also all the bad stuff. Like you have to present everything and be honest about everything. Yeah.
No wonder this dating advice, self-help industry is so big.
Karu.
Why don't dating coaches take you out on dates? All right.
That would be client, how do you call that? Like they can't date their clients, right?
This. Yeah. I don't know. All right, I think I'm done. This has exhausted me. This.
Really?
No, like in a good way. Like I think I've said everything I want to say. There is. I really feel like what you mentioned about more life coaches, even though that term to me is cringy. When you work out who you are and what means what, and then when you come across a girl and it's like, she's doing this, I'm not sure what it means, you'll know what it means because you'll know how you feel about it. You'll talk to her. But if you're someone who doesn't talk, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want, you can't speak up, you're shy, and then you're going to dating coaches asking you what the meaning of this is, it's like you don't even know how to do basic life with a person. You can't listen, you can't talk. So I think you need to take a step back and do the basics, like more life coach stuff. Like, what are you afraid of? Why can't you speak? Why do you find it hard to go out? Why are you agoraphobic? Why are you nervous on dates? Why can't you just turn up and have a good time? Why, like, just real basic human being stuff. And then a lot of the issues you go to dating coaches, like, when my girlfriend does this, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, you'll know how you feel about it. And you'll ask her if you're not sure, you know? So the focus on dating coaches is like jumping the shark. It's like you're going to the step 5 instead of learning the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
So, but a lot of people have, I think they find the simplicity of like working out your own life boring. They like going for the more advanced stuff.
You know what it is?
What is it, sweetheart?
It's the same thing as with diet. Everyone wants the 5-step program to get the body. Pill, well, everyone knows it's just about making healthier choices, moving a bit more, like all of that stuff everyone knows.
90% diet and 10% exercise.
You need to actually work on the like healthy eating patterns and things like that instead of going for like a quick fix. It's kind of the same thing.
Well, it's the same with the manosphere and you know the girl power stuff. It's all this intricate political, you know, stuff. All together it makes up this beautiful theory, but it's just the basics. It's about not being rude, being fair, saying what you mean, not being afraid. Like, oh no, it's not that. We know the more advanced stuff. Like, yeah, we know that already, but it's all this stuff. It's the hypergamy, it's the male female this. It's like no, like you guys don't even do the basics properly.
The only thing I will add to that, I completely agree with that, but I would also say in the Western world, I do think that it would be good for men to watch some red pill stuff. Just the warnings, just because the men are the only ones talking about, you know, that malicious side that women can have.
Men are protecting themselves with that information.
Yeah, so like if you live in the West and you've got those kind of women around you, then I do feel like work on yourself, yes, but also look into that a little bit to protect yourself a little. I
said in my stream that I did this last week is the male self-help dating advice manosphere, is it helpful? And I talked about it in my last stream. And I would say as well, yeah, it is helpful. It's helpful if you're clueless and you've got really traumatized, you've gotten divorced, a woman really did a number on you, and you're still clueless. You feel really scared, and you don't want to go out there anymore. Like you're shriveling up. The manosphere and the red pill and all of that, it can really give you a suit of armor to kind of make sense of the basics and what to avoid, and then you can go back out there feeling like, okay, at least I'm not going to perish. I'm not going to be knocked down as hard anymore because I've got this suit of armor that they help me put on. But the point is to kind of be strong enough later on where you can take it off and you know that nothing's going to hurt you anymore. You know, you don't have to be so defensive. But yeah, I really think, you can learn a lot of the basics to help you be more stable. And then you can learn how to be just a really good, confident human being. And then you don't need so much dating coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like dating coaches is kind of like you said about diet, is like the dating coaches are telling you how to work out intricate gym routines and splits and protein and stuff like this. And no one wants to address like, well, I have no motivation and I don't want to go to the gym and I don't want to adjust my diet. And everyone's talking, all the dating coaches are talking about the 3 steps of protein balance and all of that kind of stuff and gym splits and all of that sort of, you know. So
it's kind of a weird profession, a dating coach.
A lot of people need it or want it. It's a high demand. Like people are lonely, especially guys out there. So there's a huge market for dating, red pill, men, women stuff, discussions. You know, you just look at videos, just put up a question. Why do men blah, blah, dot, dot, dot? Why do women always dot, dot, dot? You'll get views. Just ask any question. And everyone's like, yeah, why do they? Anyway, I think we've said enough. If any of you guys have anything to say about female dating coaches, whether men should listen to them or not, or the nuance behind them, like some people in the comment section said, about yes, you can learn from everywhere, but also the person giving you the advice, how they present, how they, you know, come across and stuff does play into it. But again, the information, whether it's accurate or not, should be the point in and of itself. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section below. You got anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
Me neither. Comments below. Have a good weekend. And let us know. We'll post a call out for questions in the next couple of days for next week's stream. Let us know what you might like as a future topic, because we're always open to different questions. We've got a whole list of things we want to talk about, but off the back of this, if there's something a question that popped into your mind that you would like us to talk about in a stream or a video, let us know. And
yeah.
All right. We're going to say goodbye. Have a good weekend. And yeah, say goodbye, babe.
Bye.